What's going on, guys? Steve Pulaski coming back with another review. This one is of Steve McQueen's 12 Years a Slave. Doing this review literally seconds after I did my review of Las Vegas, so here we go. 12 Years a Slave. Been looking forward to this movie for a long time right now. Probably since I would say last year, because I was reading about Quvenzhané Wallis around this time because she got a Best Actress nominee for Piece of the Southern Wild, and I looked up her filmography, realized she hadn't done too much, but she was doing 12 Years a Slave, the new Steve McQueen movie, and so were a bunch of other names like Brad Pitt, Paul Dano, Paul Giamatti, and numerous people, Michael Fassbender, Benedict Cumberbatch. They were all doing this movie, so I've been keeping it on my radar. And Steve McQueen, director of two really great movies you guys need to check out. One's called Hunger, the other's called Shame. This is his third movie. You guys really need to check those movies out, just letting you know right now. Anyway, 12 Years a Slave, easily one of the best movies of the year. I'll say it right now. I'll start the review out with it. I don't care. Excellent movie, based on the life story of Solomon Northup, who in this movie is played by a guy with probably one of the coolest names I've ever heard in my life, Chiwetel Ejiofor. Say that a couple times. Anyway, so Solomon Northup was born a free black man in the 1800s. But in 1841, after having a wife and two children, he was kidnapped and forced into slavery. He was sold to a couple plantation owners, one of which is Benedict Cumberbatch. The other is the slave driver later in the movie, Michael Fassbender, and it basically shows his life in the movie. This movie's very meditative. It's also very graphic in terms of its brutality, and I think that if Django Unchained was a movie about not really comedy, but like a, kind of a wittier take with the slavery topic, this reminds us that it wasn't funny, it wasn't humor, it wasn't comedy, it was serious, and it was sad. And that's the one thing I like about this movie. It doesn't attempt to glorify slavery, but I love it for so many reasons. For one thing, I love Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think he gives a performance of the year. I would not be mad if he wins Best Actor. Him or Michael B. Jordan for Fruitvale Station, either of those two would make me the happiest. We've had a lot of great male performances this year in lead roles. But Ejiofor really makes this movie work in the regard that he paints an emotional, often subtle portrait of Solomon Northup, which I like. There's one scene later in the movie of him staring at the camera for like a minute and a half, looking directly as, not really directly as, but looking towards us occasionally, but he's off-center. He's kind of like over here in the movie, and the camera is way closer on his face, like up to here or so. Very intimate scene that I love in this movie and that I always think about. I've thought about since I saw the movie last week. I also like McQueen's direction. McQueen is very used to small-scale direction in terms of like focusing on one particular thing. In Shame, his last movie that got a couple accolades and a lot of good reception, that movie was more closed to like with Michael Fassbender about a sex addict, okay, whose sister comes to visit him. Then there was Hunger, a movie about the Irish prison strike, okay, which also starred Michael Fassbender. Fassbender's been in all of McQueen's movies. But the thing about McQueen, though, is that with this movie, he reminds me a lot of, he reminds me a lot of John Singleton when he directed Rosewood, the movie of his. John Singleton did Boys in the Hood, Baby Boy, Poetic Justice. He just did the Abduction movie with Taylor Lautner. The less said about that, the better. But, with John Singleton and Rosewood, the movie of his nobody saw, Singleton used real wide direction, like to incorporate numerous little characters in the movie. It was like, but he never lost sight, and that's what McQueen does here. He shows all the slaves, he shows a lot of the treatment, he even shows how you could be the best slave, pick the most cotton, do the most work, and still live in insufferable conditions, have no benefits, and still treated like the worthless black they thought all these people were. I mean, it's really a shocking and deeply saddening movie. And, like, it's one of those movies, too, where it's like, I didn't cry, but I just sat in, like, somewhat disgust, somewhat, all in silence. And then even when the movie ended, it took me, like, 3 minutes before I could even get up. It's like, how the hell do you go about your day after seeing something like this? But, right there, I'm thinking, like, I'm going to make sound like I'm saying what a lot of people think, like, oh, the movie's bad because it's depressing. Now, if you say a movie is bad because it was depressing, your criticism is wholly irrelevant, okay? I've heard so many people complain it was so depressing, it was awful, it was just sad. And I'm like, if you use the line that a movie is bad because it's depressing, your criticism and opinion on the movie is irrelevant, okay? The fact that this movie is sad, the fact that it's depressing, and the fact that it makes you ponder as much as it does shows that it's a great work of cinema. The fact that it makes you feel for its characters is a great thing, okay? The fact that it makes you depressed is a good thing because it shows you, it gives you the power to sympathize with the characters on screen. That is what I loved about this movie the most. I love the cinematography too, which is shot on, I believe, I think the film was shot on 35 millimeter. And so that kind of like helps a lot of the setting. It kind of gives a more period. It kind of gives them better. Kind of paints a better picture of the period piece element of the movie too, and gives the more of a realistic setting of the 1840s. So I did like that, and like I said, Ejiofor is absolutely amazing. This is a movie to see, and the good thing is I got it the second week it was out. It expanded to 100 theaters, about I think 123. One was my theater close to me. So the good thing about this movie is that it will probably stick around. It just got expanded this weekend to like 400 theaters. Today's the 2nd of November. So the thing is, though, it's going to get expanded. I think it will stick around through all of November, maybe into December, but I do think this movie's going to snag a lot of awards at the Oscars as far as nominations go, so hopefully they'll keep it in theaters like they did Argo, and Gravity, I think, is going to be another one. Captain Phillips, I think, is going to be another one. Prisoners might be one. So there's going to be a lot of movies, I think, sticking around during the holidays and maybe into next year if they serve some, if they get some Oscar nominations. But anyway, 12 Years a Slave is a movie to see. It's one of the saddest movies I've seen this year. I'm contemplating whether or not it's better than Fruitvale Station, my current favorite movie of the year, but I'll have to see. I'm not really positive. Anyway, though, guys, thank you guys for watching. This is a 4-star movie right here, A+ on Influx Magazine scale. This is like my 4th A+ in a while. Prisoners, Gravity, Captain Phillips, and now this. There's just been an onslaught of excellent movies this year, and towards the tail end of this year, and like I said, what I always like to say, it can only get better. Thank you guys for watching. Sub if you haven't. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.